Yeah, it's a pleasure, guys. Pleasure being here. And big thanks to TEDx. A huge thanks to VIT to get me here. This is my second time I'm doing a TED Talk. And generally, when I go on stage, I'm very much like, can I get some hands up in the air? All of you. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, this is very different. This is something that I like doing. I mean, I like coming down and talking, and, but I don't get the time. So, I'm really happy that I'm here. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Aaryan. I'm a singer songwriter, a composer, a record producer, and a live performer. But I do quite a few things. Lately, I've been doing quite a few things at the moment. But it didn't. So I'm here to basically talk about adversity. I'm here to talk about being persistent and what you're trying to do. And I'm here to talk about setbacks, how to deal with setbacks in life, because until now, my career, my journey, whatever I've gone through, I'll share everything that I can and give you guys insights on what I've been through so that, you guys, in whatever you guys are trying to do, you guys can use that and maybe, for your own career, for your own journey, you can maybe use what I'm trying to tell you, what I've gone through. Not necessarily you guys are going to absolutely agree with whatever I have to say, because I've had my own experiences, I've had my own times. So the times were hard. So yeah, before I start, I want to ask you guys a question. I mean, what is adversity, honestly? Anyone would like to answer what's the meaning of adversity? You can give your own definition to it. Anyone? No? What is adversity? Anyone from here? You guys have been talking today as well, so might as well. What do you think So, no one's answering. Okay, chalo, it's TED Talk wala scene, but koi baat nahi. So, honestly, adversity for me is an opportunity. It is something that where I'm at my 200%. I'm giving my 200%. I learn the most when times are tough, and I learn the most when things are not working out. Because at that time you have to work much harder than what you do on a general daily basis. When things are working out, you're like, yeah, it's working out, so I just really don't need to do much about it. But when things are not working out, is the time where you actually give your 200%. When you're laser focused completely, you're absolutely giving your 200% of whatever is it that you're trying to achieve. So adverse, let's go back to the pandemic. Honestly speaking, the whole world was going through adverse situations. It's like 4 years. I don't know why I'm still talking about it. It's been a while. But I feel that I need to touch up on that point because that was something that actually made me much stronger. It took a toll on me initially. But going by the whole experience, it taught me a lot. I mean, before the pandemic, I was a singer. I mean, I just gone to Bombay. Chalo, become a playback singer, become a Bollywood singer, this, that. But in the pandemic, I had a lot of time to retrospect, to spend. Before the pandemic, I was doing a lot of shows. I was making a name on the live circuit, but everything shut down. I just signed a deal with a company in Bombay, and things were working out. I was having this tingling feeling, this is my year, it's going to work out. Everything is going to the right direction, right? But, well, as all of you know, the pandemic ended it all. All of us were in doldrums at that time. Most of the people didn't have a direction after that, didn't know what to do. Kaise hoega, kya hoega? I mean, there were a lot of questions at that time. So I was pretty much pestering my family at that time, going up to my dad, Dad, what am I doing in my life? Mom, what am I doing with my life? I was depressed for 2 weeks straight. I was depressed. I was like, what do I do with my life? I mean, because my whole thing was live. I was not having a social media presence, nothing. I was just performing. I was just learning from stage. I mean, that's so important. I urge every artist nowadays, don't just go to the studio, go out there, perform, understand what the audience wants from you. Because what happens nowadays is everyone's going to the studio, singing. It's all easy to auto-tune stuff, get your vocals together. Everyone can, and trust me on that, even if you're not a singer, you can go onto the studio and sing. But the real thing is at a stage, at a live concert, when people are actually watching you. So you can't really use too much. I mean, you're basically there. It's a raw performance happening, right? So pandemic taught me a lot, and I started researching. Now I've started to compose. I've started to engineer my own studio. Now there were the smallest of terms in the pandemic, in the music scene, which I did not know about. I knew upri, but I did not have an idea. I did not know what these terms mean, honestly. But the pandemic, you start researching on everything. You go through each and every term, and you research even more because you're frustrated. Honestly, I was frustrated. I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? So it made me learn so much. So I started writing my own songs. Honestly, in the pandemic, I wrote a song called Par. I'll sing that for you guys today. But that song was straight up feelings at that time. I mean, honestly, it has lyrics like, kya hum jeet payenge. Because things were tough. I mean, we didn't know, I didn't know where I was headed at that time. God knows how long this was going to take, right? So it took almost like 2 years for the whole pandemic to end, 2022, when things started opening up. But I realized that if I don't make my social media presence at that time, I will have nothing to start from. When the time ends, when the things open up, and I'll not know what to do, because the life setting is completely different. That's a different market, different ball game altogether. But when it came to like social media presence, I had nothing. So I started releasing my songs. I started releasing my music. I started releasing covers. I do a lot of. I like to believe I have a lot of versatility that helped me a lot. So I did English covers. I did Hindi covers. I did my own songs. I write in Hindi and English both. So then I started to make a fan base. Now I have a worldwide fan base. I'm working on that. So I have a fan base from America, from England, from the UK, and even in China, there are guys who are following me. So it makes me very proud, but it took a toll on me, honestly speaking. This whole process, it was not easy. Life is not easy, honestly. They were full of setbacks. I mean, honestly, I'm here to talk about setbacks as well. And all of you are going to have it in your own time, and it's necessary that you have it. It's necessary that you fail, because you learn so much more about yourself when you're failing. Honestly, when I failed is when I actually realized that, it taught me. I mean, I gained a lot of knowledge. I gained a lot of musical knowledge. I gained a lot of knowledge about people in general, because I started understanding people, guys who I was meeting on a daily basis. Initially, I was a very straight up guy. I used to be very nice to everyone. I'm still very nice. But honestly speaking, I was very naive. Honestly, before the pandemic, I'd gone to Bombay. I realized that, I should be meeting people. I should understand what they're trying to. I didn't understand anything. They all have their own. They wear masks. I mean, everyone has a poker face in Bombay. It's not easy to understand what people are thinking. I was like, I have the talent. I'll make it. Things are going to work out. But then I realized this whole talent part actually delayed things a lot more. Because when you're talented, when you're good at something, people are going to bring you down. So it's part of life. Deal with it. If you're good at something, people are going to bring you down. But as long as you're doing what you like, what you love, what you're passionate about, I feel nothing else matters. I think no one else should matter to you, honestly speaking. Because initially it was not easy for me to go up to my father and tell him, like, my father's a businessman. So everyone in the town, a relatively known family in Calcutta. So it was harder for me to go up to my dad and tell him, I want to be a singer. I want to be a musician, this, that. So it was a process. It took me a while for my dad to understand that I'm actually passionate. Because I was not the most disciplined guy. Before the pandemic, before music happened, I think music had happened before the pandemic, but I was honestly not disciplined at all. I was going out, I was having a great time and everything. But when my dad and my parents saw that, I'm giving my 100% to it. I used to work for, I do my vocal practice for 6-7 hours. We call it riyaz in Hindustani classical music. So I was doing 6-7 hours of riyaz. So I was working on myself. And then my dad, mom finally saw that I'm actually working on something. Finally, found my passion, right? So I think when you're passionate about something, you eventually work on it. Because if you're not passionate about something, if people are just filling your ears, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? And why don't you have something to fall back on? Honestly, I don't understand that whole term. I feel if you have a plan A, if you've retrospected, if you understood yourself, if you've realized that this is what you're good at, because everyone is unique. I think everyone has their own attribute. There might be someone who's a great engineer. There might be someone who's a great businessman. There might be people with insane physical genetics, right? But if someone is coming and telling you that this is what you should be doing, I think half the game is over, because you're doing something that someone else is trying to tell you. Sometimes it's a necessity. Sometimes times might be hard. You might absolutely have to do something which someone else is telling you to do. I mean, that's part of life. But as long as you've stuck with your vision, as long as you've stuck with your passion, as long as you've understood that this is what you do, I think there should not be a plan B. This whole safety net thing, I don't understand, because I feel if you go about something, anything that you're trying to do with that safety net, having a plan B, that initial plan A won't work. And then one day you'll be like, I'm very disappointed. Why is my life not working out? Why is this not working out? Why is that not working out? That's because you did not take that initial leap. You absolutely had gone for something which someone told you to do. Someone who does not understand you. You know you best. So this is something I realized with time. When I start to understand myself better, I feel when I gained a lot of knowledge about myself, research on yourself is so important. And then being mindfulness and this whole yoga thing, I got into the whole thing. I started working on myself. I started getting disciplined. I started sleeping on time, waking up on time. And then I started respecting myself a lot more. And I think with persistence, persistence is key. And that persistence does not come in a day. It takes its time. And I feel persistence comes with a lot of respect that you develop towards yourself. Because if you don't respect your work, if you don't respect yourself, you're not going to be working hard on whatever is it that you're trying to do. If you respect yourself, you'll give 200% to it because you know this is what you've decided to do. This is what you wanted to do in your life. So you'll automatically get persistent about it. You'll work at it. You'll give your 200%. It'll happen on its own. But I feel, and at that time, honestly speaking, when people are seeing you work hard, right? There'll be people who are saying, okay, he's working so hard. They're not going to like it. I'm putting it out there. They're not going to like that you're working hard. You're getting somewhere in life. They're not going to like it. This is just life. But I feel you should not listen to anyone. Once you've decided that this is what you want to do, you go for it. You fail in it. It is important that you fail because I've had a lot of setbacks, honestly. I mean, I've had shows where I've performed at all sorts of venues. When I started off, I mean, I've not just performed at concerts. Now I'm doing concerts. I'm performing around the country. I'm performing around the world. I'm doing shows outside of the country. But initially, I performed at places you guys won't even like going to, honestly. It's horrible. The crowd was horrible. The sound was horrible. The equipment was, I mean, honestly, I mean, I have nothing to say. I mean, you guys will understand what I'm trying to say. Horrible places. But I realized at that time I was frustrated. Yeah. At that time I was like, what am I doing with my life? What is this? Like 50 people, 100 people are coming and watching me. I mean, I'm wasting my time. How am I going to grow from here? How am I going to take it to the next level? How are things going to work out? These questions were like pestering me at every level of my career. But now I realize, now when things are working out, when I'm a little like calm in my mind, now I'm realizing that, I learned from it. I mean, now if I get good equipment, it's like a boon, pretty much. It's like I'm just chilling on stage. It's like my bedroom. Now, I mean, when I'm performing on stage, it's like, I'm chilling. I have nothing to really be worried about because I've done that. I've gone through the tough times. I've performed at places where people were jeering, they were cheering. There were different types of people. And people who didn't understand what I'm trying to achieve, where I'm trying to go. They don't know what I'm trying to do, only I know. So this is something I took a while to understand, right? But when I did, I'm like, I'm not stopping at anything. I'm going to give my 200%. And I'm not going to give up because that's not in my, that's something really important as well, like today. But because a lot of people are good at something, they're working on it. But deep down, in the middle somewhere, they give up. They feel that it's not working out because they're not persistent enough. They're not patient enough. Because I realize there are a lot of people that I know in my own life who are great musicians, honestly. And they're not doing music. They've joined like their whole 9-to-5 job, whatever, which I respect. But they're not good at that. They were actually better musicians, but they took the leap. They took the safety option. Their initial, that plan B thing got into their head. But honestly speaking, it didn't get them anywhere. They're not happy. And if they're not happy, they're not working on what they're trying to do, right? I mean, they were not going to achieve anything in the next 5, 6 years. They'll be like, I think I've taken the wrong decision. I should have stuck with my initial plan A. And I should not have listened to her. They'll live a life of regrets. And I feel regrets, I mean, it's part of life. You will regret something. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. But I feel I'm going to quote a line from a very brilliant actor who I really followed, Denzel Washington. I saw one of his speeches. He was motivating some students in University of Philadelphia, if I'm not wrong. And he said this one thing that everyone has to go, right? All of us are going to die. Let's face it. We won't see each other maybe the next, it's inevitable. You're going to die. Everyone's going to die. Let's put it out there. But the ghosts of your talent, I mean, this whole phrase, it's just in my head all the time. Whenever I'm facing a downtime, whenever I'm going through a tough time, I listen to that speech. I mean, I still do this till today. When I'm going through a tough time, things are not working out. So the ghosts of your talent are going to be around you on your deathbed. You will be dying and they'll come and tell you, we were there. We were knocking on the door. We were there for you. We were crying out, why aren't you working on this? Why aren't you doing this? Why are you doing something that you're not good at? You're talented. You're good at this. There are people who are good at so many different things, right? But people are not going for it. They're not taking that leap. I think that's almost essential. I mean, I feel because if you're not good at something and if you're just doing it for the sake of it, you're not getting anywhere. Let's be honest. You'll have a normal life, but if you want to do something great, you want to do something big, you do something that you've planned initially, your initial plan A. So you stick with it, be patient enough, wait for it. Don't think about the results. I feel like sometimes you really need to. People are going through monetary, financial issues as well. Sometimes you need the results to come fast, right, to you. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Life is harsh. You're not going to have 10 on 10 days. Embrace it. Accept it. Be calm about it. be cool about it, and just keep working at your craft. But while you're working at it, give your 200%, and don't stop at anything. So with that, I would like to end today. It was an honor speaking to you people. And yeah, I would like to congratulate VIT for hosting this and for TEDx. And it was an honor being here. So you guys are amazing. See you guys at the shows. See you guys around. Thank you guys. Cheers.